Hello, you guys. Hi. Okay, how do I say your Twitch name? Is it Terrich? 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 Terra. That's easy. Okay, I have our document up. I have our... Here's our flat earth. Combo of game name and last name. Got you. I should give you a combo of my last name and my social security number. Okay, so last time was our Friday the 13th stream. We had a bunch of stuff about the ants. The Stranded, I think, was the name we came up for. Go on, tell your social security number. 111111111. Don't use it. This was the name that we came up for the people who are like stranded out in the waters near the cliffs. Snail God for travelers. Cool lightning when a volcano erupts. Culture on the volcano calling lightning skyfire. Moss people in a big cave. In a cave, big cave. Obsidian as a currency. Lightning strikes may be mutating creatures. I think that's what we added at the very end last time. And then we said this time we're going to continue our ant culture. Build a volcano culture, maybe? And maybe some religion. And then we had our SOGS document, which we really put a lot of stuff on. I kind of want to dive into SOGS culture more. I feel like that's a good place to start. We've been anting it up. Also, let me know if music volume needs to change at all. I have a thing. Music sounds good? That's wonderful. I have a thing. Also, while you guys are here, we're about to be approved for affiliate, which is really cool. But if you guys have any suggestions on stuff that we should add when we have affiliate status, we can do a bunch of really cool stuff. We can do a bunch of really cool stuff. Okay. I don't know if you guys know what a culture pyramid is. Let's see if we can look up a good example, actually. Culture pyramid. This is not necessarily the way that a culture works organically. Oh, these are all bad. Writing culture pyramids. You're still not super good. You're still not super good. I'm gonna just set up our own in here. They look like lollipops. Okay, here's the basic idea, right? At the base of a culture, core themes of a culture, and then build it up from there to societal structure. Structure. And then from there into religion, and then you just continue to build. You basically give them a little structure to build off of. So in terms of core themes, I know that we said our ants, we defined them not as fighters, right? They're just tradespeople. Yes, like a hierarchy. We're just going from the ground up. So core themes, tradespeople, yes. Not fighters, question mark. I think we kind of loosely said that, but I don't know how firmly we like locked that in. And then in societal structure, we had younglings. We should come up with a name for the young ant people. Hello, Rye. We're making a hierarchy. That worked so well. We had younglings being... what is the name that I'm looking for? Scavengers is the only name that I can come up with. Mudlarkers? There we go. Mudlarkers. Ooh, happy writing, Rye. Hope you have a good session. I'm going to be checking in with you in every 30 minutes, and I expect every 30 minutes for you to tell us that you've written another 1,000 words. You're in Wales. Sitting in a ditch. Well, have fun in your ditch. Yeah, is the ditch in the whale? We had older ants being it's in the country. A whole country inside of a whale? That's crazy. Older ants being hunters slash swimmers. I can't believe they put a country inside of a whale. And a ditch, too. Don't worry, for the record, I know what Wales is. I've been to Wales. But yeah, have fun. Okay. Younglings being mudlarkers, older ants being hunters and swimmers. It's so cool. The ditch or the whale? And we had, Ant Queen, right? And then we had, stationary and non-stationary, groups. Gonna send all the Brits into your stream chats. Brad! Not Brad. I love an invasion of Brits. Oh my god. You thought you could get rid of us. No one in my life has ever called me Brad. I mean, accidentally, yes, but never intentionally called me Brad. Thank God. Can you imagine? No, Rye, I've never seen you make a typo before. I've never seen it happen. I've never seen you make a typo. Isn't that crazy? Oh my god. Religion. We've kind of skirted around religion so far. I don't think we've defined anything concrete. Do our ants have a religion? Audio's a tad crackly. Is it crackly for the rest of you too? Is it crackly like whole thing crackly, or is it like audio buzzing, like a fuzzy fuzzy sound? Buzzy fuzzy. Huh. Is it good now? Okay, cool. Does it make me quieter when that happens? Not really? Okay. I'll check it after the stream. Make sure I haven't broken anything. Okay. Anyways, are our ants religious? I know we said snail god, but I think we decided the ants and the snail god don't get along because ants are they live in the salt water and the snails hate salt. Sounded like a wire misconnect. Yeah, that's the impression that I got. The ants' religion. What do you think ants value in a religion? A safe place to call auntie home? Protection for their eggs? Killing of birds? The marsh. I do like that idea. Worshipping the water, right? Gives them food. Food. Gives them food. Would it be a greater predator than the ones they face? Pagan style almost. I do like the idea of that, especially since they are like relatively primitive so far. Gives food, protection, shelter. More like a force than like a deity, maybe. A storm god. If they're helping people travel to the island in the center, the big old volcano, that'd make a lot of sense. Unless they believe that something controls the water and that's what they worship. Like Poseidon. You might have made another typo. Yeah. Okay. Worshipping the water. Maybe worshipping storms? Or maybe worshipping something to, like, alleviate storms? I don't know how to spell. You're writing right now. Bye. Enjoy your ditch in whale. Poisiden. Like poison? That's a fish? Oh my god. What if I start banning correctly spelled words in chat and you're forced to make typos in order to type? Anyways. As opposed to poison, which I believe is poison. Maybe the real poison is the fish we met along the way. Who knows? Okay. Marsh. Worshipping water, worshipping storms. What if it's like sun sky god? It's the worms. That could be interesting. Okay, what's the argument for sun sky god? Because right now, birds come from the sky, and that's bad, right? They didn't used to live in the marsh, so perhaps they call back to a time of clear skies and dryness. Maybe. How long is the memory of an ant society? But yeah, I feel like our current setup does lend itself to they're afraid of the sky more than anything. They protect against it. They have spikes to avoid predators from the sky. Which maybe would make them apprehensive of the storms too, and whatever they worship would be to try to alleviate the storms and grant them safer passage. They worship the waters because they live amongst it, and some just go wherever it takes them. That makes a lot of sense. Gives them food. Oops. Lets them travel. Okay, fine. I do think worshipping to get rid of storms probably makes the most amount of sense. Um, mm, so I'm gonna say fearful of the sky. What would be a religious practice for little ants? They worship the water. Do they deliver things into the water? They take from the water, so they give back to the water? Maybe they set the bodies of their dead out on the water, all Viking style? And come from the water, so the water takes them back? I do like funeral rite on the water. Right. We're going to leave religion behind for right now. We'll keep building it as we come up with things. Values and ethics. I think communal support, probably a big one, right? Hive mind? Not quite, but almost. Communal support. Let me jump ahead real quick. Ew, family unit. Because then I'm also thinking probably raise baby ants together as a community. We haven't talked about where they all come from, if they all come from the queen or if there are, like, family units. But that would make sense to me for ants. Social life. Trading with nearby peoples, which I think we said could be little mushroom people. Little mushroom people. I'm gonna skip ahead one more. Us versus them. I'm just trying to get all the ideas down on paper. Against the sky and the birds that come from it. Most cultures usually have some degree of othering. And that feels like a very natural way for them to do that. What if the salt water would preserve their dead somehow? I'm trying to do a little research without being put on a list. Let me know what you find. That could be really interesting. Because I do think, okay, so we have ceremonies that can be like courtship, life milestones, significant events. And then we would have... well, yeah, death practices. Apparently some bodies were preserved in a salt mine, but that's salt rock. Would they have, like, stashes of salt to preserve themselves in? Would they want to be preserved? If they send the body out to the water and they're like, we are, you know, helped by the water, do they want to preserve the body, or do they want it to just, like, you know, decay into the water? Oh, thinking that it's by accident? Maybe. Well, let's put this here. Send bodies out into the water on a raft? I don't know. Let them take it wherever they take it. And then maybe like a coming of age thing for when they grow to hunting age. That could make sense. They do the water burial, but the body never decomposes. Seems salt water kills more bacteria than fresh water, so it would at least slow the process. Very slow decomposition. This is a pretty good start. Do we want to try to tackle Volcano Island at all? Environment, we already have. Soggy marshes. Communication. Is that like a little clicking language? I think we had said like braille-like writing, right? With little like dodgels on clay. Something like that. Foods. We have mudlarking. We have fishing. I think we said spear fishing while on stilts. Isn't it more like cuneiform? I seem to recall somebody throwing out Morse code, which when translated into a clay tablet reads like Braille. Clay tablets, mandible click language read styluses. Braille-like writing, noddles on clay with read styluses. I do think that's pretty cool. Stylus would be used to make more cuneiform-like etchings. You ever go to like a kid's museum and they have those walls of all the pegs and you push it through and then there's dots on the other side? The little boop, 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 flip it around and then you have bumps. Did we say anything else in particular? We said a lot of things for food. We have like electric eel cooking or something. Where was this? How do they eat? Oh, net bridges. We had said they eat mudworms. I don't know if we're keeping that. But they have net. Big. Big net. They write left, right, and read left. Oh, they write. Well, hold on. They write right, left, and read left, right because they gotta flip the tablet. Yes. Yes. Right, right, left, read left, right. Because that makes sense. We have the spearfishing, we have the stilts. We have the underwater one. Okay. So that is underwater hiding and little snags. Mandibles. I think that's what we had said for low quantity fishing. I misspelled soggy marshes. I'll go check it a second. Oh, we had the fungus farming and the pickling. Okay. Soggy marches. Fungus farming. We had pickling. We had storm hunts. Fried fish. Farming something like aphids. Lil bug farming. And then we had electric eel cooking. Cookies. I love electric eel cookies. I think that's all the food stuff. Okay, socialize, family unit, raising ants together. Eggs raised on stilted platforms. Protected with spikes. Vinegar is made from fermentation of fruits, dates, figs, and beer. Yeah. I think we had said fruits, which means that they could have fruits too. Little fruits. That's my rapper's name. Some kind of fruit could be important for making vinegar, which is needed for pickling. Absolutely. So we have little fruits. We have construction. Let's add a couple more things here. Okay, so we have the foods. We have clothing. So I think we had said woven clothing and armor, potentially. We had said maybe obsidian spikes woven into back pieces. We had said time to get soggy, baby. We say that all the time. Woven clothing and armor. Obsidian spikes woven into back pieces. We had said woven headpieces for plugging doorways. Yeah. The turtle ant helmets. Stop bidding soggy in the chat. No. No. I think that's all the stuff we had said for clothing. Okay. Construction. Let's do construction / architecture. So we have, hey, Nightbot. Congratulations. Here, Soggy, so I come back just to say this is one very soggy moment. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Okay, so we had said, clay drying for to make bricks and pots for food and cooking cookies. Why I always spell cookies instead? It's not soggy in Pacifia. I feel like there's a lot of water. Yeah, they make you. They make you. You can't even stop them. You can't even stop it. Oh, we said the lightning bug cages for lanterns. That's cute. Lightning bug lantern cages. The Lot of Water is the third book, not the second. I seem to recall a very soggy Edward in the first book, though. I seem to recall a dripping wet Edward. No comment. Oh my god. I think, did we disperse with the batteries idea? I feel like we kind of did. Ooh, right. And the mud scooping slash clay scooping headdresses. Yeah, because eels. Is that not? Okay, there we go. Headdresses. Lightning bug lantern cages. Eels are the batteries. And then we had said, with clothing, they also trade for rubber to make eel and lightning proof clothing. These are some weird creatures that we've dreamed up here. And then we have stilt houses, and then we have raft slash barge houses that are either pulled or allowed to drift where the marsh takes them. Barge cities. And then I think we had like some sort of construction architecture centralized stationary area with Queen. Oh, they believe they were molded from clay and mud. We can put that in religion. Religion. Why can't I spell? Believe they were molded from clay and mud. Oh, and then the spikes on the roofs. Construction architecture. Obsidian spikes on roofs. To keep away birds. Have we gotten everything? Oh, salty mud as band-aids. And then we had debated acid spitting and stingers. I don't know where we landed on that. Where should I put this? I guess in here. Salty mud for band-aids. Okay, I think that's the big stuff. Environment, soggy marshes, warm climate. Okay, just a couple more. We get to the frivolities. We have holidays. We have art. Maybe holiday when bird season ends. Birds stop flying over by. Celebration. They've migrated away. Lubber grasshoppers. Lubber grasshoppers. Well, they're gorgeous. Are they particularly loud? Why you shouldn't touch them. It sprays. They get smelly. A foul-smelling, foamy spray. 4-inch long grasshopper cannot fly. Instead, it moves in short, clumsy hops. Black marks. Okay. That's all you tell me. Tell me more. Wikipedia has never lied. Defense. Foul-smelling, foul-tasting, foamy secretion from its thorax when disturbed. Dark-colored and opaque. The final strategy is that it lets off a loud hissing. Okay. Nasty smell. That could actually be kind of cool. Clothing, societal structures, life, ceremonies, environment. Where do I put this? Environment. Nasty, smelly gunk bugs? Because ants can't smell, and yet soggy bread can? What's happening? If the ants can't smell, how would it serve as alarms? I think the idea would be it keeps other things out, but it doesn't bother them. Symbiosis sort of thing. They're unbothered, they can live there, other things would be repelled. Nasty, smelly gunk bugs that the ants can't smell. Bradley made a claim. I don't know what that means. And I don't know what it is because sound is off. I don't know what any of that means. Other than sound is off. Art. What do the ants like to do in their free time? They're surviving. They raise their young. They go fishing. And then they get to do what? Do they like to make clay statues? Maybe murals with seashells? That would be cute. What else would they have access to? Oh my god, maybe they build big fake birds out of dropped feathers and clay like a scarecrow. The bigger the bird, the more the other birds stay away. Like the build. Death spiral on random things? What does that mean? Best viewers on streamboo.com. What if they use the fake birds as effigies for rituals? They can pretend to stab or kill for protection or something. I really like that. What are ant death spirals? Is that a thing? Let's go back down to religion. Stab the bird effigy for protection. They're not fighters, but they will stab a bird. Okay. Ant death spiral. Antmill is an observed phenomenon in which a group of army ants separated from the main foraging party lose the pheromone track and begin to follow one another, forming a continuously rotating circle. Known as a death circle because the ants might eventually die of exhaustion. Oh no! Stab the bird, Bradley talking about Dodo. Wait, this is so sad. That's so sad. Oh, Sudoku. Oh, those poor ants. Those poor ants. Okay, we might come back to ant death spiral in a second, but I do have a question to pose, which is societal structure. They have a queen. I get the impression it does not operate like a firm state or government or something. Is this more like chiefdom territory? Like, more power towards the center, but then the further out you go, the looser the structure is. Maybe the more they wander. Stab the bird, no one ever about Roxy. True. No one would ever want to stab Roxy. But that dodo bird, on the other hand. Holidays, art, clothing, food, communication, environment, family unit, social life, us versus them, ceremonies, death practices. Let's put government here. Government will have queen, and I think kind of, oh my goodness. Thank you, Ellie the Wolfie, so much for the follow. I hope you enjoy your stay. We're building ant people. Would it be family-based? Maybe. Like a segmentary society? Influential families effectively rule their little villages? That makes sense. Thanks, you're so welcome. Thank you. Queen would be considered the matron of the biggest family in the land since they are all descended from her. Okay, that is an important thing then. Do all the babies start out in the middle? And the babies are only raised in the middle and they're not out in the other groups? Because that does kind of have a ripple effect. That prevents them from being more family-based out, like further out, because they would all be born in the middle. It could just be symbolic. She's the mother of the people. I think that makes sense. Babies start in the middle of death spiral and only the strong escape. You want them to suffer. You want them to suffer. Okay, so we have Queen in the center. Mother of the people. Let's just write that down for now. But we'll have smaller queens throughout the region. Just like Drag Race. And then I think we're doing like roughly chiefdom sort of thing. If they're traders, do they have like a system of merchants or something, or is it just like localized trade? I feel like that'd probably make more sense unless we give them like a real, because so far we've described them as kind of just like raising their families in their own little area. They sometimes let the water just take them where it takes them. They're just kind of going about their business, which doesn't seem like a super regimented, organized society. Unless you guys think we should change that. I'm going to say localized for now. So, we have a people who have emerged from this queen in the center and have kind of spiraled into their own local communities, raised on the water, kind of revering the water as a deity, and building their lives off of it and the mud and clay that they can get from beneath it. Perhaps those who go off and do big trade routes traveling are not shunned, but seen as like abandoning their families. So like wandering traders in Minecraft, but they're not the most well respected. We definitely could, but then it does kind of change their nature as tradespeople. And their relationship with that sort of, I don't know, worldly job on this edge of the continent. Tradesmen can come to them and through their lands, but they don't leave the marshes. I think that's very accurate, yes. But then that still begs the question, is there any sort of organization behind their approach to that? Sorry, I bumped my mic. If people are coming to them all the time, how do they treat that? Do they have an organized approach to this is how we treat people who are coming into our lands? Do they have places for outsiders to stay that are welcoming to other body plans? Probably quite hospitable. It makes sense since they're not like a warmongering sort of culture. So then, in our us versus them, let's say hospitable to other people as long as they're not birds. They bring outsider goods, which is well received. Absolutely. Hang on, I need to drag my chat longer. I can't see everything. Well known for the trails, for proper production. I would see it. That would be really interesting if they have trading trails that they can just smell. Hospitable to other people as long as they're not birds. I'll say most settlements have a building for travelers to stay in. Not how you spell travelers. And then rafts for escorting travelers across the ocean. I think is something that we've toyed with a little bit now as well. Like how anthills have the tunnel system to exit without letting anything enter. We definitely could. I am very interested in this. So, okay. Do you think that if these are water-based animals, and so instead of having all these paths where they can scent their way across land, maybe they're more in touch with currents that allow them to find safer paths through that other people would not be able to find? I know that's not how ants in our world work at all, but it could be an interesting change in this world to like keep that feeling kind of the same, where they can just like, they know where to go, they can path find like no one else can, but they can do it in this specific environment. And so then people who are entering this region are kind of dependent on their guidance. Let's add another one here at the very bottom for biology. So we have the... What is the name of the thing? The holes. Guys, the only word I can think of is sphincter. Spiracles. One thing of note, for them to be important guides, other people would want to cross the ocean at this specific point. Definitely. I mean, if they're wanting to go to here or to here, this would make the most sense, right? This is the closest coast, other than maybe this little point up here. We have their spiracles that can close when under water. We have dexterous. That's all. I can't spell a thing today. Dexterous. No. Dexterous. Hands? Not really hands. And then we have pathfinding with water currents. Wah. Volcano Island makes a midway stop between the two continents, allowing refueling, repairs, etc. that a long cross-ocean voyage wouldn't allow. Absolutely. Though it is in the middle of the storm. I think we said storms are very, very common, but these are also just like fallen clouds. So dangerous but convenient. I guess that's kind of the trick. Social life, trading with nearby people, and then escorting people to the eastern continent. I do like that. Okay. So this might be a good time to transition into when they get to this middle island. What is that like? What do they experience? What is passing through clouds that have permanently fallen down to Earth like? Let's make a new tab. Volcano Island will need a better name, but that's a good starting place. So we had mentioned in this place, hold on, I gotta change the text. There we go. We had mentioned in this place immediate volcanic eruption. We had said obsidian currency. We'd said potentially crow-like beings. Ooh, that's making me itch to make some art. That's giving me the art itch. I want to draw. I'm immediately in my head picturing like hunched over people that are kind of hidden in a robe that you can see like the crow beak sticking out of, and they're like carrying around all of these baubles and like shiny things that they've collected around with them, like their own personal stash that they're carrying around. And that as people are traveling to this place, they're always looking for more things to add to their collection. I think that's it's nice. It's like almost eerie vibe, right? You're traveling to this place that is so different from anywhere else, and you meet these creatures that are so different, and they are collectors. What if they're ashamed of their feathers and hide them under cloaks and jewelry? That would also make them more presentable to these other people that are afraid of birds that are regularly bringing travelers to them, and makes them more likely to come back if they're not being scared away. So hiding their feathers under cloaks. I'm imagining kind of like hunched over people can see the beak sticking out, covered in pouches and straps to carry their collections of shinies and baubles around. And then maybe there's a sort of like social hierarchy with who has collected the most and the most priceless items. So over here we can have shame-based, or we can have also to not scare away the Sogs people. I also really love the idea on this island of having kind of hermits who travel a bunch of different places to stay on the island and study it. Imagine somebody who's, you know, knows about this phenomenon in the center of the world, and they just come from all over the place and set up shop and try to observe what's actually going on there. What's going on with the volcano? What's going on with the clouds that are perpetually on the surface of the earth? And then, if they're living around a volcano, do they have protection in the case of an eruption? Evacuation plan? Can they fly? If worse comes to worse, can they just abandon the cloaks and fly off? They could, but never would. Can they fly away? Could, but probably would not. Attachment to the jewelry and shame of their feathers makes them never want to. I think that makes sense. Now, where do you think feather shame comes from? This is a good question for us. We'll just leave it here. Where does feather shame come from? Okay. We're an hour in. I'm going to take a tiny quick break to doodle random things. Let my brain reset for just a second. Let's draw. Draw a campfire in under 20 seconds. I can do this easy. Oh. Whoosh. Draw a garden in under 20 seconds. No problem. I didn't like that one. Draw a camel. Ooh. Yes. Draw a hockey stick? Uh-oh. Is that a hockey stick? Draw a coffee cup. Draw a zebra. Okay, good job, me. What did I miss? Hey, Nightbot. Only thing that comes to mind is probably bad. When the volcano erupted eons ago, we were the only survivors because we could fly away and come back, leading to massive survivor's guilt. I mean, something like that could be interesting to have trickle down through generations. Maybe even the people who are alive now don't remember that that's the case. It's just there's still that residual hiding. Where does Feather Shame come from? Trickle down from having once been the only people to escape the eruption. Would there be any remnants left over from people before? You know, something buried beneath a pyroclastic flow that could have been preserved. So like, would these people be living around like literally remnants of an older civilization, or like the skulls and skeletons of people who were here before that don't look like them, they look like other people? Maybe they're trying to make themselves look like the people who were here before because they think it will make them belong more. And so they're trying, you know, this culturally, they could be hiding themselves and their appearance to like fit in with what the remnants of whoever died out that they're seeing around themselves. Live in the ruins and around the skeletons of people who aren't like them. Hello, No Dark Senate. I do play D&D. I have a D&D session in 2 hours. Not on here, but I do. Do you play D&D? I look like a DM? I do DM. I was a player first, but I do DM now. And it is a lot of fun. So yes, in 2 hours I will be DMing. Ooh, thank you for the follow, the Known Dark Senate. Welcome in. I hope you enjoy your time. You organize a Star Wars evil political D&D campaign? That sounds epic. So you DM too, then, I take it. You organize? You have 4 DMs that run the sessions? Do they, like, take turns? Is it a co-DMing sort of thing? For the session that I'm doing today, I have a friend who is effectively a co-DM with me. Also a player in the campaign, but also a co-DM. Four groups, 4 DMs, 6 admins. That is impressive. That is a lot to organize. Do you guys stream? Is it 4 groups, like, all in the same world? Like, is it taking place at the same time, or are they doing, like, separate stories? Back on our birds. I'm kind of wondering if when people arrive on the island, the birds charge them, like a toll, almost. Like, you come to the island and you have to give whoever is waiting for you at the docks some sort of, you know, here's my toll to you. Charge toll when people arrive. Almost like the troll under the bridge, but it's the bird on the island. You do not. However, I found most of my players here on Twitch. Stream sometimes. We're careful because it's an evil theme. Dark themes can be fun in D&D. One of my characters in a friend's campaign, we had a really long discussion, he and I, before the campaign started, because I wanted to play an evil character, quote-unquote evil, and I didn't want it to be disruptive to the party. And so it's like a lawful evil character, where he's got his own set of morals, but we made sure it did not clash with the group and what they're doing. All the groups are in the same world, very similar to a West March style. Kind of curious what that kind of campaign maybe interest you. Maybe. Yeah, I have an email if you want to shoot me an email in my About section, if I have the time. The campaign that I'm doing right now, we actually have two groups in the same world. None of them know each other. None of them know what the other one is up to. I have a Discord server that you can join. You're welcome to join that and message me. What is this music? I'd be a perfect main villain. Thank you. We love a good villain arc. Okay, let's go to clouds. Clouds. I'm kind of imagining that somebody would take advantage of clouds that have settled down on Earth and use it as a way to try to hijack travelers who are passing through. Voice is complementary to the villain style when I reference villains. That's cool. I will take that. I will gladly take that. Okay. Creature that live in the clouds, maybe in the water beneath the clouds. For reference, if you guys are just popping in, we're talking about there's clouds that have like fallen down to the surface of Earth and are kind of settling around this little island. Well, thank you. Cloud sharks. That could be cool. Cloud sharks? Question mark. Maybe blend in with the clouds. You know, a little evolutionary advantage where they've been in this area long enough that they begin to kind of camouflage, cloudiflage. I think having it be a water-based creature either way is definitely the way to go so that it doesn't get onto the island as well. I think having it just in the water is probably the smartest. Cloud sharks or otherwise. Or we can have multiple. That wouldn't be a bad thing. Are you is spaghetti? I am is spaghetti. That is my Discord. Sweet. We'll check it out after the stream. That's very kind of you. Let's make cloud sharks part of our personal dictionary. Beautiful. Obviously, if we're going Central Island here, that kind of begs the what's on the other side question. I don't know how far we want to reach in that direction on this stream today. I don't know, but I would imagine when people are traveling from the western side, they're also going to be traveling from the eastern side as well. What they are and what that looks like, I don't know. The background suits the stream vibes. I try to set it up well. Try to get the, you know, the cozy little vibe going. We have the candle light. It's not a real candle. It's like a lantern that looks like a candle. I love it so much. It makes me feel like I'm a hobbit. And we have little blue lights. It's a vibe. Island probably needs something the others don't have. What if the birds are really good farmers? They're their own scarecrows. That's actually so funny. Well, okay, is volcanic soil rich? Yeah, okay, because of volcanic soil. They're very good farmers. Take advantage of the volcanic soil. And then probably a lot of rainfall, right? From the nearby clouds and storms. I'm guessing the warlock vibes, maybe. Anything. Anything goes. You know, I've never played a warlock. I should play a warlock at some point in time. Very good farmers take advantage of the volcanic soil and probably a lot of rainfall. Fire, volcano, water, rain, air, clouds, earth, island. Oh, they got the whole gambit. They got all 4 elements. I am from the West Coast. Yes. My P.O. box. Oh my goodness. What if elemental magic is powerful here? That could be interesting. Elemental magic. We've not talked about a magic system at all for this world yet. That could explain how the clouds fell. Elemental magic could have drawn the clouds in. That's very interesting. What if plants they grow have magical or healing properties? And that's why they're so coveted? Like the West Coast vibes completely. People come and visit for the plants. Only West Coasters pull off being over the top so well. That's actually very true. That is very true. The IRL group that I DM, all West Coasters, and it is the loud. Not only are they West Coasters, but they are almost every single one of them performers of some kind. Most of them are musicians, and so it is the most like over the top loud group of people, but in a good way. Good loud. I do like magic plants idea. I like this. Okay. Magic plants is good. Do you think these people have like some sort of organized society? Or are they just kind of doing their own thing? I would imagine the farming is organized in some way. Do they have a ruler? Everyone is theater associated in some way. I did a one shot recently. I was just a player for it. I was actually doing a villain. In that one, my friend who was DMing asked me to just come in to play the villain character. And then several of the other characters were theater kids, and well, you know how that goes. There's the wealth thing. Plutocracy? Hold on, because now I gotta look. I know I've known what a plutocracy is, but I don't know in this moment. Sounds like being the villain is your go-to? Sometimes. I do a little bit of both. In one campaign, I was. In a couple more, I've been kind of the complete opposite, but variety makes it fun. A group of birds, maybe crows, murder. Go back to the definition. Plutocracy is a form of government where a wealthy elite holds significant power and influence over the political system and decision-making process. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm such a visual person, I just click the images tab by instinct. Plutocracy. Wealthy merchants in charge. You want like a council? I was tempted to beg you to be our Dark Emperor if the schedule works. Pray to the schedule gods, because my schedule is crazy. Complete Order 66 remix? I don't know what Order 66 is. What if they're like farmer merchant lords? I think so. Farmer merchant lords. Started as a farming culture. Magic plants drew so many traders and wealth influx that the farmers grow hella wealthy. Don't worry about the typos. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then the wealthier they get, the more they want to collect their little things. I wonder if wealth for them is not just like currency though, but it's just like rare things. Because we had said currency was obsidian, so they can kind of make their own currency. But also valuable items they collect. Maybe some relics. Start building some ancient history with them. That's when Palpatine officially came out and declared the Galactic Republic the Galactic Republic. Oh. I'm not the most versed in my Star Wars lore. Maybe the wealthiest rulers used to be farmers, but now focus on actually conducting the trade. Wealthiest used to be farmers, now conduct the trade. I wonder if obsidian is used as currency in places, but not here. So, obsidian as exported currency. And then I also think, absolutely, it was nice meeting you. Have a good rest of your day. Obsidian is exported currency, and then I also want there to be, I don't know if solo is let's say less connected peoples who roam the shorelines to collect tolls, trying to slowly reach the heights of the merchant lords. I'm imagining people who are lingering on the coastline who are not part of this more centralized merchant farming trade structure and are doing this to try to get what they can slowly. They can make it its common and thus not valuable. That's a good point. Glad you found your channel. Thank the reading and writing section for the recommendations. Reading and writing section is doing a lot for me. It's how a lot of people have found us. That in Skyrim. Currency should be seeds. Are you Eclipse? Because of the focus on wealth and the relatively small size of the island, vaults would probably be very important. That's so true. Vaults to protect individual wealth. If your hoard can be stolen easily, you are not worthy of it. Love that. The algorithm seemed to love you then. You know, we've done not too bad so far. We've done not too bad. Although we got raided with like 11 people one night when I was doing like a writing stream, so that helped a lot. We working our way up there, slowly but surely. Wonder if they would not frown upon theft. Yeah, we got, I was doing my late night writing stream. And I was like, this is going to be so chill and calm. You know, we have like 2 to 3 viewers, maybe 4. And then all of a sudden there were 11 viewers and 6 new followers in the span of a few minutes. Because somebody who was reading Winnie the Pooh, I think her name is Celine, raided us. And it was really great. And then they just hung out for almost the rest of the stream. Yeah, we were writing this, like, cataclysmic intro to a book. It was a good session. We got 1,200 words done. I love you, Bread. I love you, Mr. Theories. Oh. Now we just wait for them to approve our affiliate status. Okay, vaults to protect individual wealth. I do think theft frowned upon, but I do really enjoy the idea of outsiders being covert thieves. I can imagine that this kind of societal setup would mean that the people who are not currently on top would become much more conniving to attempts to steal from the people who are on top. When there's so much emphasis put on wealth and collections and status, then the ones who do not have that would be extra motivated to obtain that however they could. Theft isn't frowned upon? See, in my head, I was thinking theft frowned upon to try, like, the people who are on top are obviously not going to want to be thieved from. And so they're going to spread the message, this is wrong, this is bad, don't do this, especially to travelers coming into the island. But then the people who are not on top understand that the only way to reach the top is to thieve and steal. But theft as a form of warfare is a really cool idea that I think would work great in this setting. So I'm just going to put this here. Theft as a form of warfare. When someone wants to take down a merchant lord, they rob their vault. Basically, wealth equals power. A bunch of vultures, no crows. I like this a lot. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And then obviously on both sides of the island, there will be docks with trading centers, I guess, and lodgings for travelers. I would imagine the center of the island would be where the lords and farms are, and are kept away from outsiders. Probably a massive wealth disparity. Yeah, absolutely. Let's put this up here as well. They should use feathers from other birds as currency. Fortunately, feathers can decay. That's a good point. Yeah, wealth being permanent is quite important. On both sides of the island, there will be docks of trading centers belonging to travelers. Center of the island would be where lords and farms are, kept away from outsiders. How would they protect this stuff? Obviously, they have their vaults in a vault, which also implies they can metal work. Probably. But in terms of protecting the center of the island and their farms from theft and invasion. Volcanic eruptions lead to higher metal content in Earth. So then they have more to work with. And that means they don't have to trade for it as much. They can mine. Who does the mining? I don't imagine crow people mining. So that means that we need some sort of people or peoples. Steve! I am Steve. I can easily imagine the poorest crow people mining. I think that's definitely true. I'm just thinking, like, body plan-wise. Putting an axe, a pickaxe, in the hand of, like, a crow-like body figure that would be able to fly and has weaker, hollow bones. Like, would that actually be physically plausible? Join the Bread Bakery Discord if you like. Thanks, Nightbot. Yeah, see, I like the idea. Okay, how about this? Poor crows labor by transporting mined materials. But I feel like unless they can no longer fly and it's just been evolutionarily so long that they've gotten heavier and bulkier, there'd have to be something else. What if they hire contract miners to dig for them from other nations? Would also drive more people to the island. That is a cool idea. That is a very cool idea. Hire the ants. The worms? Worm diggers? Hire peoples from other nations? Worms? I'm kind of toying with the idea in my head of like, what if there's things that are lingering on this island from the time of the eruption? What if there's creatures that survived the eruption, or creatures that are a little more, I don't know, stony or volcanic in nature, that live here that are a little more animalistic, that they would be able to master or recruit, so that it's not always just like, you know, other people's, but it's like they're using their own environment. Because so far the vibe I'm getting is they're very like, you know, the resources they have, they're keeping to themselves. The resources they take from the island, they want for themselves. The work they're doing on the island, they want to keep for themselves. Elemental creatures would make sense. Yeah. I do like that idea. I don't know what that looks like exactly. But that, and as a protective force, they could just use earth magic to move rock and soil. It's possible. Again, that gets into magic system. So if we want the magic to work that way, then absolutely. So far, the extent of our magic system totals there's magic plants. We haven't even decided what they do. But yeah, we could. Like a golem. Or like they're literally just like move earth spell in D&D. What if the wealthiest make like treasure golems for their own hoards? That's cool. Okay, I do like the idea of these guys making golems of some sort. Golems. Made of treasure to protect vaults and hoards. Made of earth to mine and to defend island. I think that's cool. Wow. I think Roxy would be really proud of us today. And then I would also assume... Let me go back here. Okay, let me check in 1 second. I'm going to say... Trade and sell plants themselves, but nothing with seeds. Only sold fruit would have seeds removed. I think that makes sense. I want to go to the docks bit. Where did I put the docks bit? Trading centers and lodging. Bye. Thank you for hanging out. Army docks are trading centers and lodgings for travelers. Different lodgings for ants and for humanoids. Special treatments for ants, since the ants basically bring them customers. If we want to change golems, we can literally just have elemental creatures, right? It does not have to work in the exact same way, if that is a discrepancy. But I think, without going too deep in it, it is pretty significantly culturally distinct. But elemental creatures aside, I do want to stick on the lodgings for a second. Discount for ants. I'm trying to think about what they would give these people for this. Or maybe help with rafts or building supplies. I'm wondering if they would ever be gracious enough to give any metal. Or maybe soil samples for their own growing of their fungus and stuff back home. The ants wouldn't know how to work it, no, but I'm wondering about like if there's anything, you know, like spear tips or tools or something like that, where they don't know how to make it themselves, but then they have it themselves. Tools. Is there anybody on the other side of this island who would get a similar treatment coming from the other continent? I guess that's too soon to say. That is an idea. I'll put something down for it. Special treatment of people who travel regularly from the east as well. Maybe. I'm wondering about other people that would be coming through with the ants. Let's keep this in the same section. Travelers and travelers. Let's do... traveling peoples. Coming with the ants. We would maybe have our mushroom people? Do we have humans? So far we haven't had any humans. I guess we can say humanoids, because I feel like that would be good to have. I don't know what form that will take yet, if it's just humans. Or if it's something human-like. Let me go look at map real quick. We've not really developed much of this nearby. Okay, I'm happy to brainstorm more for the ants or the crows, but I do kind of want to start developing the land a little bit more inland. If we have birds, we're saying that there's birds inland, then a forest would make sense. And forest would be a good place to develop more little critters and stuff. Can I place multiple at the same time? It looks like I just have to do one at a time, which is fine. Advanced setting, I think that's just for pro. Oh, no, maybe not. Multiple? Haha. Thank you. Okay, that looks believable. Yeah, it's not letting me do like a huge area select for it, but I can vary them up, which is nice. These are very large trees on the scale of this map, though. Let's shrink them down a little bit more. Maybe 50? Let's start with some in this area. This would be a good area for trees, methinks. We also had our little sugar glider inspired folk that we could put in an area like this as well. I think that to develop more of like how the culture in that area would work, because it is kind of like a conflux of cultures from around the world, it would be helpful to define a little bit more about who all would be traveling there, what they would be bringing, what they're getting out of it. The more context for that, I think the richer that center area will be. This music doing too much for me. How is this looking? That looks pretty cool. I want it to reach up towards the mountains. Back to the humanoids note, though. What are we thinking? Because we made some really weird creatures so far, which is fantastic, and I love that. Do we want just some regular little old humans? Or maybe something like elf or elf-inspired? Definitely humans. Biased towards dwarves. I mean, dwarves are always cool. I developed these little creatures for the book I started writing on stream. Called The Corin. Momfiel. Momfiel part what? Part 4? Part 5? Momfiel the 5th? Started developing these little guys called Corins, like with a CH. Corins. And they're kind of like dwarves, but they're a little smaller, and they're made out of rock. They're like living little rock things. Also kind of like a golem. But more akin to like something Fey related. I really loved them. Technically part 6? For goodness sake. Part 7? Let's bring this down this way a little bit as well. I think we said this region would also technically be prone to a good bit of storming. So we can have some tree lands dotted through that as well. I feel like I can easily get out of control with this. And put too many trees in too many forests. Oh, we can always clear them up later. We can deforest. We can deforest live on twitch.tv. How is this looking? I think that's cool. I think we also put a little bit over here. You've made a lot of changes. Put one over here as well. Meow. What have you missed? We've got this whole bit for crow people. There's a lot. Basically the concept of a plutocracy, where they are people who hoard wealth and kind of measure social status based off of their hoards, and then the people who don't have that are a little more downtrodden and maybe do some under-the-table things to try to grasp at that kind of wealth. And that they trade magical plants because they have rich volcanic soil. And right now I'm making forests. Yeah, you missed out on the crows. Plotted out part 1 and part 2 of the sequel. That is very exciting. You should tell me all of the details right now. But yeah, we have a crow people. And it is a really cool setting for a lot of interesting stories to take place, I think. I think we'd put a note in there about, like, thievery being, like, their version of warfare. Because they have these protected vaults where they keep their little crow hordes. Eli dies, so does Casper, and Krista too. Edward comes back and he wins? Okay, I can deal with most of that, but you lost me at Krista dies. I'm gonna have to send a murder to your P.O. box. And by that, of course, I mean a group of crows. So fair. Yeah. Well, you shouldn't have killed Krista like that, so I'm just doing what everyone would want. No one can touch Krista. I'm trying to build out some of the geography of the world a little bit, so that we can add more people, more types of people, more places for people. Because I think it'll help make the center of the world a little more rich when we know all who would be traveling there, who would be wanting trade there. Because obviously they would be affecting the culture, the nature of the place that they're traveling to repeatedly. And I have to assume, at some point in history, there have to have been some power grabs to try to take control of that island. Other nations, other groups of people trying to infiltrate and make it their own. Surely there's been some crow wars. Cloud pirates. Many a murder indeed. I can't believe this. Cloud pirates. Also, the next stream that we do is likely to be our first affiliate stream. I'm trying to think of ideas for what to put in the buttons. You know the things where like you get points the longer you're in chat and then you can use them for things? I'm trying to come up with some fun things to put there. I didn't mean to make the pun. Could do something about the clouds falling with the whole we don't fly anymore. Some thematic link there maybe. That could definitely work. Link, oh, still caps. Link between no longer flying and having clouds on the ground. Ooh. Could anything special be grown within a fallen cloud on the island soil? Making Bradley soggy. 1,000 points to expend and I pour a water bottle on my head? Hey, Nightbot. I'm gonna make you non-soggy, Bradley. Then you use your points to call hydrate and bread gets soggy and I draw soggy bread. We can put custom emojis in there. We can put custom emojis like soggy bread and other little emotes and stuff, which is very fun. It's okay, it's a process. It's a process. And we could just keep updating it as we go. This looks pretty cool. I wonder if there's an opportunity around some of these outer parts to add in a sort of Mediterranean climate. I would love to do that. Didn't we mention like a vineyard people at some point? I feel like we did. and they can eat figs and drink hummus, and I'm just describing myself. Not the bread people. Oh my god. It'll look over, the whole continent will be filled with trees. I can't stop. Just one more tree. One more tree. They could be our humanish race, who are like living yeast or something, and they love cooking, so they make wine and bread. You want to make yeastlings? Aren't those mountains meant to have a rain shadow? Yes. I think originally it was going this way. You can see my mouse, boink, a boink. But now it's going out a way. Which I think does make the soggier side on the east. Which I know it does contradict with this a little bit, but I'm just like around a bay, a lot of condensation, maybe. Let's research yeast folk. How does it work? Oh, I didn't even see the Resurrect. Resurrect yeast folk. You're living bacteria. Yes, correct. All living bacteria is yeast. Hey, Nightbot. Every single living bacteria is a yeast. I don't lie. I yeastify. Hey, Nightbot. Look at all these trees. Isn't it beautiful? Dark, but I love doing dark stuff. Corpses, they're zombies which are controlled by bacteria, and they love to cook because bacteria like heat. It's like The Last of Us, but the zombies just want to cook. That's actually so funny. That's so funny. Yeast zombies that love to cook and eat sweets. What are we doing here? Okay, just a few more trees. Just a few more trees. They have little yeasts under their chef hats, making them cook. Yeast-a-tui. Okay, Chef Master E. Try our steamed cabbage. It's delicious, said the zombie. Despite the peeling skin and severed limb, the food did look quite tasty. Oh. This sounds like that, this a new setting in that zombies RPG game. The Kitchen. Escape the Kitchen. Zombies edition. Zombies like to eat humans, so it's kind of on theme. They don't eat living stuff, that's boring. What about the culinary experience? It sounds like you've been watching Dungeon Meshi. Wonder if there could be living necromancers directing the zombies. We decide that the yeast controlling them is a bit too out there. It's so funny though. It is very funny. Maybe. What happens if you cook an ant person and boil it in crow bone soup? Mix with a bit of zombie yeast, and voila. Delicious in dungeon. Oh, look at all the trees. Yeah, you know, the zombie yeast. Did I not mention there's no grain in this world? There's only zombie yeast. Wait, that doesn't work. There's no grain in this world. There's only zombie yeast. But they have a sister species of zombies who are just like normal zombies. But to these yeast zombies, they see them as uncultured. Like, wow, they don't even know how to light a fire. Zombie culture war over culinary pedigree. That is hilarious. Okay, I've added a ton of trees. Last thing that I want to do, obviously, if you guys have more ideas, keep them coming. But I do need to go kind of soon because I need to make sure that I'm all set up for D&D. But I want to put some city markers on here where it would make sense for there to be big cities. Their beds are fridges. They sleep in morgues. I... Uh, 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 yes? Oh my god. Whoa, stop that. Stop that. Self-cryogenic freeze. What's happening? I could thank you anytime. Will I? Yeast zombies. These have to be the remnants of an old culture who all died out in a freak accident that led to their undeath. Advanced culture of culinary fridge people. Okay. Looking for places for cities. We have the ants that are all over here, and then as soon as it starts hitting more solid land, I think we would have more cities. So maybe we would have one right here. Maybe we would have one as you're getting more inland here on this little... Oh, maybe there'd be one here, kind of guarding the entrance, and then one over here in that little area. I definitely think we should have something up in the mountain bowl. Maybe not a city, but I'm going to put a marker there right now anyways. We would definitely have a lot lining this water. So maybe there would be one closer to the mountains here that could use the mountain resources. Love the idea that they're really civil too. They just want to share their food with people. They might also hunt to cook, which might involve hunting humans to cook them, but it's for the greater good. Food. This is reminding me of, have you ever read, The Weird Zone? Hello, how was your ditch? Let's put another one over here. The whale spat you out. We're doing yeast zombies. Oh, no. Oh, no. Put one here. That whole place is a city, I guess. It would make sense to have one over here. It was horrific. I'm so sorry. Blood, salt, mud. Sounds like you're describing the ants. So much horror. Maybe we'll put on an island right there. That's cool. Blood, salt, mud. Sounds like ingredients for cooking. No. We'll put one down here. Oh, that's too many. Not what I meant to do. We'll put one over here. Maybe close to these mountains here as well. Human dish, salted and medium rare. The dungeon meshi is getting to you. It is getting to you. We could have one here on a little river or something. We should have a place with many city-states, all the Greece or Sumer. We 100% should. Are we in main tab? We are in main tab. Many city-states place. Same cultural group, no centralized government. That's not it. Centralized government. Politics. You know it. I like the idea of a couple cities being in these little mountain nooks. And maybe one over here. And maybe one over here. We did work on the crow people a lot. Maybe one over here. And maybe we'll put one over here. What is the politics of the yeast zombies? Good lord. Yes. My favorite type of bread. I really love focaccia bread. I really love focaccia bread. What if they're really big in trade because they love cooking, so they trade their food for other things? You know, I'll put this down. Trade for cooking? Why, I literally always spell cookies when I'm trying to spell cooking. I don't know what that is. Your uncle made some? That's fantastic. I always want cookies. I always want cookies. Why do you not seem to like my yeast zombies? Are they too disturbing? There's a lot going on with these yeast zombies that I'm not prepared for. It's not the disturbing part. I do want cookies. You know, one of the biggest shocks of my life was learning in the Nearcraft server that almost half of the people in there prefer not fresh out the oven, crunchy cookies. Absolutely crazy behavior. Who are the yeast zombies? I don't know what to tell you. Soft cookies are superior. Soft cookies out the oven. Gooey chocolate chip cookies. Unless it's like a store-bought cookie like an Oreo that is supposed to be crunchy, they should not be crunchy. That means they've been overcooked. Crime. People who died in bacteria, specifically yeast, controls their dead bodies. They sleep in morgues so the bodies don't rot, and they love cooking. I don't know what to do with this information at this point in time. It's in the doc now. I don't know. Are you guys seeing any other obvious places for cities on this map that I should add? Please use latitude and longitude to pinpoint location. Could they thrive off of bacteria culture found in the marshes? Then they try to eat the ants. All right, I think these good cities in the next one. Bottom half of the continent. Excuse me, I burp. In the dead center of the open area. I was actually thinking about that. Call it nowhere. Boop. That's nice. Okay. Next week, what I would like to do is plot out vague... They all die. Plot out vague countries. Add more peoples. Decide where a lot of those peoples live. And then maybe magic system? Veiled Dictator. What in the spoilers? What in the spoilers is going on? I know nothing. I know nothing. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Alright, well today, we did a ton of culture building. We decided a bunch more things for the ants. We decided a ton of stuff for our island culture and the crow people that live there. I'm very happy with this. And we made a bunch of trees and plunked down places where some cities can go. This will give us a ton to do next Friday. President Snow, fires catching if we burn. You burn with us. Oh my goodness. Let's not forget to raid. Because I am a real streamer. We have Evan Blair Art who's streaming right now. We also have Trallian who's doing some writing. We might go raid Trallian. Bradley's Pinocchio confirmed. What is happening? What is happening today? All right. See you guys.